Formula One raced in Saudi Arabia, where what you thought would happen did in fact happen. Red Bull continues to lead us through a depressing season of utter domination with their second 1-2 of the year, while showing to have more drama than a high school cafeteria. It is lights out, and away we go for episode 133 of the Eaton Asphalt Podcast. On episode 133 of the Eaton Asphalt Podcast, we have a hot lap recap done by our resident Ferrari fan Marco, and winners and losers. This should be a pretty quick one. Let's test out this expedited race recap episode that we're going to do here at the Eaton Asphalt Podcast. Marco, let me hand it over to you. Get us started. The elevator pitch of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the hot lap recap. I'll time you.
All right, I got a lot of times interviews where I didn't get a second round. So that's usually your elevator pitch. Let's see if this improves with age here. All right. Elevator pitch for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So we had about 5 laps where Max wasn't leading the race, which was quite a breath of fresh air. Gasly made it almost half a lap before the team threw in the towel for a gearbox issue. Speaking of throwing in the towel, Carlos Sainz's appendix couldn't bear the stress of trying to find a new team and retired from his body. Something he should get used to, though. He did have a British guy take his seat. Again, if things keep going this way, it looks like we will actually have a battle for the Constructors' Championship for third place with Mercedes and McLaren. But while they're battling for third in the championship, Lewis and Oscar were duking it out for 5th place on Saturday. Stroll reminded everyone that he's here because his dad owns the team, and Nico Hülkenberg has more points than Williams, Orbi, Alpine, and Sauber combined. Now let's talk about our winners and losers for the weekend. Starting with our winners. Just like Martin Garrix getting residencies in Vegas, Red Bull will have its residency in the winners group. Their only worry probably every week should be if Perez can be in the ballpark of Max, and yesterday he actually was. Another winner, we have Ollie Behrman. If you would have told me on Wednesday that I would have been pumped to see a Ferrari pass a Haas car after a long battle, I would have said you're absolutely crazy, but this was a circumstance I did not see coming. Last person to score points in their first race was Nick de Vries. So hopefully he doesn't fall into those footsteps, but he also had the most points scored for his first race since 2011. So kudos to Ollie. Haas is also one of our winners. Just like everyone predicted, Haas is our 6th place team in the Constructors' Championship. Kind of hurts me to say, but it may be Gene was right to move on from Gunther. Early so. It sucks to hear. I don't know if we would have had this one big point from Haas earlier. My other winner is going to be K-Mag. Similar to Haas, in my opinion, he deserved a share of the driver of the day, being an absolute menace for the bottom half of the grid. James Vowles, when he came onto the broadcast, could not have been more annoyed with the Dane. Very tactical use of the battery with a very strong straight line speed of the Haas. It made it near impossible for anyone to pass him. It worked for perfection to slow everyone down as Hulk did a late pit, was able to pit and make it out in front of the pack to score them that one big point. Moving on to our losers. K-Mag, 20 seconds worth of penalties, causing a wreck and leaving the track without a takeover. So our first winner and loser, same week, K-Mag. Congratulations to K-Mag. Another loser is going to be Alpine. Only made it about 10 corners before having to retire one of their drivers. Ocon finishing 13th is probably better than what they expected, which is sad in its own right. And then our last loser is going to be Yuki Tsunoda. Got pushed around the entire race by K-Mag and Alex Albon. Weirdly enough, though, he handled this better than his teammate passing him for team orders last week. So maybe a little bit of progress on maturity, just not race pace. And that does it for our winners and losers for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
Do you think Yuki got just smacked around in a team race meeting, and that's why he was basically told like, "Hey, shut up! It's time for you to race and not complain about anything and stop like getting so mad about everything all the time." Because that's the only way that I can see this. Like, the level of annoyance that he had should have been way off the charts, especially compared to last week. So,
yeah, there's a few times where like K-Mag did leave the track a little early, like a little pretty heavy elbows out for all 3 of those drivers were just going at it, which was very fun. It's just unfortunate that we're watching a battle for 12th and we're like, this is racing right now. That's like, really, but it was, I think I would have been a little bit more frustrated than being like, getting pissed at Danny for his team saying pass them. So Maybe they did finally have that "you're on thin ice, buddy" conversation. He's like, okay, this could be it. And if like I'm not going to be great on the track, I got to be okay off the track if people do want to take a chance on me.
I have another loser. Max Verstappen is a
Oh,
loser.
wow, interesting.
If you don't know, there's a lot of drama going on at Red Bull right now. A lot of he said, she said, a lot of he leaked to the media, a lot of media got really mad, a lot of potential sexual harassment. And so right now, as it stands, last I read, Helmut Marko's in trouble with Red Bull. Red Bull's basically saying, stop leaking things to the media. He says, okay, and then turns around, I think the same day, and so they were like, don't talk to the media at all. And then next hour, he was giving an interview.
He's like, I thought you meant like starting tomorrow. I thought I still had the day to start leaking shit.
Yeah, he was like, you should have been clear. And basically they're saying you're suspended. It might be like let go from the team. Max says if he's gone, I'm gone. And that to me, like, there's no reason for you to do that. If you're as much as of like win at any cost, like winning is the most important thing. You shouldn't just leave because this guy who I don't understand what his job is other than just being there, like he's just like a presence and a face. If he leaves and you're saying you're going to leave because of that, don't understand it. And I think it's just like weird loyalty. Like we were talking about yesterday, I think like he has to have something over the Verstappen family for them to show this level of loyalty. Like, I don't think they've shown loyalty to anyone like that before. I know Jos hasn't. So,
dude, and yeah, like not only that, it's not even loyalty of being like, I'm going to leave. The rumors of them going to like the bitter rivals that they've been dealing with for the last 10 years, like the arch nemesis of Total Wolf, and been like, yeah, honestly, we might go to you guys if this doesn't work out. That's a level of like debauchery and like spite that the Verstappen family would have, which is crazy. Be like, thanks for everything you've done, made me into the driver I am, all this stuff, and is like, see ya. You're gonna get like, you're not gonna listen to our rules. We're gonna go to your rivals.
Yeah. Also, you said it already, but hats off to the appendixes of these F1 drivers that are just allowing all of this fun stuff to happen in the absence that they have to take. I think it should be mandated that once a year, one F1 driver has to have their appendix removed. Because if this is going to be the most action that we're going to see from Ollie Behrman, give him in. Like, get him in. If nothing else, spin a wheel. Whoever's name the wheel lands on has to get their appendix removed at one point, and it has to be on a weekend of a race.
I mean, we have 20 drivers. We have, I'll say 20 spins a year. We can have 4 races. Monaco, let all the drivers, like the top 4 races that drivers vote on as a group, saying, hey, not these 4 races. The other 20 spin a wheel. That driver for that weekend is gone. You just keep, once you get it removed, I don't think you have to. It's not lungs. I think you're off the board, obviously. Yeah. Like, you can't just keep, it's like, Bottas, sorry, dude, this is the 3rd time in a row. I don't know, it's rigged. He's like, dude, I run out.
We gotta put the appendix back.
We put a cadaver's appendix back in you, let it soak into your body, let it think it's real, take it back out.
Yeah. But I mean, it's so weird that like it was Alex last year, it's Carlos this year. I feel like it's, we're moving up in terms of like the
importance. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. Max's appendix, like, watch out because we're coming for you.
Yeah, we got to do something here, dude. The next race that Max isn't driving in is going to be a thrilling race.
Oh, it's going to be must watch.
Dude, like I'm circling. I'm prepping for this. I'm pre-gaming for this. This is going to be like the best race of the year.
Charles pole position, easy. If it's not going to be Max, it's going to be Charles. But a Ferrari garage is going to do what the Ferrari garage and Pitwall are going to do. So I don't have any confidence in him holding.
Perez by himself. Who knows what the fuck that's going to do?
I think the other loser that I have that I just want to talk about it because we should talk about it is the Stake F1 Kick Alfa Romeo Neon Green Sauber and their pit stops. They're 2 out of 2 for extended pit stops. Before I realized it was Guan Yu Zhou, I was just like, oh no, they're doing this to him on purpose. Like, they're doing this to Valtteri on purpose, because I thought this was the 2nd week out of 2 where they're just like, what do you mean you're not, like, the guys on the pit crew, isn't that like their whole thing? I mean, I know I probably couldn't do a better job, but it just feels like to have stuff go wrong twice in a row. Like, didn't they have a meeting at the end of that weekend last week in Bahrain where they were like, hey guys,
Practice.
never again. Like, we are
Yeah.
going to stay here and do this over and over again and make sure everything's accounted for. And then they're like, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just like not a big Middle East kind of crew, you know?
Danny Ricciardo is my last loser of this weekend. You can't be spinning when you're in last place. You know what I mean? Sergio Perez had he was right behind him, and that had to be kind of gratifying. Like, oh, this guy who's been rumored to take my Red Bull seat, like here he is
Sprays
in
by.
last place, spinning, driving by him. I think he was already done with his race. Just being like, hey, loser, you're bad at
You need
this.
some help? You need some help? You're good? All right.
I feel like if it were anybody else other than Danny who was above, I don't know, 34, Valtteri, Fernando, maybe not Lewis, but Kimi bet like a couple of years ago. If you're in last place and you spin, I feel like that should be your swan song of like, hey, like it's been fun. I'm out of here. It's just because it's that Danny Ricciardo effect that we don't want to let him go. And I understand that. I think if Danny doesn't score points by summer break, I'm okay with this being his last season. They had it right last year.
Mhm.
Last year, bring him in as a Red Bull guy, not racer, but guy. He's just a Red Bull vibe police.
Marketer.
Yeah. He's the marketing guy that comes in,
CMO.
coming in on social media videos, just giving us all. He's not there to give us good racing anymore. He's there to give us laughs and entertainment. And it breaks my heart to say that. I'm a big fan of his, but yeah, I don't know if he doesn't have a point by the end of this first half of the season. I think I'm okay with letting him go. Make room for a rookie.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking of like other important people that really kind of struggled. Seb is still another guy that I don't know how they still. I mean, obviously his pedigree is much better than Danny's. I get that. But like a total last week was like, I still think that Seb may be able to like. He still has it. And I was like, for potentially the replacement for next year for Mercedes. Like, do you remember how bad he was his last year?
Yeah,
I think he was slightly worse than Stroll.
pass on that. He definitely doesn't want to do that. He's out growing beehives and stuff like that, dude. He's saving the world. Like, we don't need to get him in a car.
We need more people like that. We don't need more race car drivers.
Put in Ollie. Give me Ollie in that seat. Why not?
I kind of want him. I want to keep him to myself, All right. Well, that does it for our winners and losers and elevator pitch for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Let's go to our race predictions recap and gambling recap. But before we get there, this part of the podcast is brought to you by Eaton Asphalt Consulting Group. This is a new group who's really rising up the corporate ladder, taking long-term clients from Bain, McKinsey, and even Deloitte. One way they're doing this is by cornering the sports consulting market. They provide consulting services for all sports. And I know you're probably asking, what do two big-time sports media personalities know about running a team? Well, we take a different approach where we take multi-sport approach by utilizing traits from one sport to excel in another. For instance, with Haas having some turnover, they brought in the EACG team to get a fresh look on their team. We started implementing basketball drills leading into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. One of the big drills we pushed was boxing out. Defensive boxing out leads to good offensive and scoring points. K-Mag was bought in and was boxing out like the mound round to rebound himself, putting Williams and RB team in a tizzy. This defense led to a huge point for the team, like Steph Curry behind the arc. Need help, but not in F1? We got pole vault drills for hockey players, football drills for bobsledders, and even archery drills for bull riders. So if you're a team in any sport needing the brainiacs to turn the season around, give the fellas at EACG a call. EACG, proud sponsor of the Eaton Asphalt Podcast.
Marco, it took since the beginning of when we started doing this, but I think I have finally reached above even money for the gambling stuff that we do.
All right, dude.
Let's go. So I went 2-1 on the weekend, bringing me to an even 3-3, up almost 3/4 of a unit. Not to brag. So didn't hit Albon top 10. I was way further off than I thought I was going to be there. Sergio Perez top 2. Check for plus 150 on 1 unit. Max pole and win. Check for minus 110 on 1 unit. Plus money, baby. This feels different to me right now than I've ever felt.
I'm pretty pumped for you, honestly.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Yeah, that was good. I was really excited to see that. Yeah, the two plus, I mean, one decent plus money and then one basically even. Usually my wins are minus 160, minus 200. Not great turnout. So look at you. It's starting to pay off.
It's not going to pay off next week, tell you that.
Hey, you got a little spending money. Speaking of spending money that I don't have, tougher weekend for me. 1 and 2. So overall 3 and 3. We're both tied. It's just Ian has better odds. He's doing better bets. So over 16.5 cars classified, minus 160. Hit that. Miss Stroll in the top 10. Out pretty early on that one. And then Danny over Hulk, minus 120. Not even close. So I am 3 and 3 minus 1.2 units. So $475 in the bank.
Right on. All right, and let's get to the not money side of our predictions and gambling. Let's talk about the predictions, the race predictions.
Our real predictions.
Our real predictions, our cash-free predictions. I didn't hit anything except for 2 cars to finish, which I was kind of excited about. That was kind of a win for me. So 2 cars to finish. That brings me to 1 point. First point in the season. Came in the second race of the season.
Yep. I'm going to join you with 1 point on the season with my first of Charles getting fastest lap, getting it in the final lap of the race, which is awesome. He was pretty excited, being like, clearly there's a little bit of the race pace is kind of there with Red Bull. If we can get that in the last lap, minus 13 seconds or 18 seconds, we're right there.
Right there. Just keep doing it fast.
Dude, if this race had another 45 laps to it, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what goes down?
Photo finish.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. We had it was like we were off for so long. All of a sudden, we had the tornado of 2 races back to back. And now we get a little break before we go to Australia. So,
Down under.
We should bring back those the interviews we used to do with like Kimi Räikkönen, you know what I'm saying? Kimi Räikkönen, the Australian folks.
Yours, yeah. I'll do the interviewing. Mine, I gotta go to the workshop on some of my accents, I would say.
Right on. All right, everybody. Well, we'll see you for the preview of the Australian Grand Prix. But until then, see you assholes.
See you assholes.